Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis of gold and silver, see what's going on. I'm going to look at the dollar, the 10-year yield, gold, silver, platinum, and then an ETF or two, and then into some individual companies. Let's see what damage has happened today. I'll give you my financial opinion. That's all it is. Please don't use it as advice. And here we go. Let's jump into it. I'm starting with the dollar. The dollar was coming in an upward move. I say was because we had a pretty large down day today. Zooming in on the dollar here. If we can zoom in here. And there it is, coming on up. We went into an ascending wedge, broke to the downside, and it was getting pummeled today. So we had a down day for the dollar. I think this is probably going to continue lower. For the dollar, there's our big spot above us. And we're coming on down. Looking at the 10-year yield, the 10-year yield was cruising higher. We had lots of momentum coming up. We were going to break and do incredible things. Let me zoom out a little bit further out. Shoulder, head, shoulder, ready to break to the upside of this neckline. And no, we couldn't have that happen. We had to create a variant and let everybody know about this new variant and pummel down the 10-year yield. I do think that they're in there trying to hold this down. They do not want this yield to go higher. And the Federal Reserve and all these others, they are trying to hold this stuff together. They're trying to hold it down. And one of the ways that they can hold it down is pushing and creating variants and lockdowns and all sorts of things to hold everything down. Commodities obviously sold off today with everything else selling off. Big down day today. So here's commodities. It was in this little channel. We sold off today. And usually, guys, I'm going to step back here for 2 seconds, kind of zoom out here. This here is a bullish formation for yields to go higher, a inverted head and shoulders. If they're going to do like big lockdowns, they would tell their banks and all their buddies. And what happened in 2018 is we had an increasing interest rate environment in 2018. We were letting rates go up. The markets did not like it, and they did QE here. They did QE. They started blowing it to the downside, and they had a problem. They being the Federal Reserve and the government. If they knew that something was happening, they knew something was going to shut down. That's why yields started drastically going down in December of 2019, all the way down in February. March was the sell-off in the stock market. The bonds were selling off dramatically before the stock market crashed. So the banks knew that they were going to do shutdowns, or that they were going to do something, because they ran into bonds, and we could see it in here. If that was going to happen again, I would think that this is going to dive down. Let's watch and see what yields do, because if they start diving down lower, the banks are all running into bonds. like they're going to do another shutdown or something like that. That's just something to watch. Now, jumping into gold itself, let's zoom in on the right-hand side here. We've got this nice pattern coming up. We're zooming in on this pattern here. It had an up, barely up today, $3. Coming on down, we were coming on up, and then boom, it's getting hit again. The market wants this to go higher. The market wants gold to be at a higher level. Inflation wants it to go up. But they're using external things to try to pummel this stuff down. Now, yeah, this could be kind of normal, but this last move here, I'm not buying it. Not saying that I'm not buying the dip. I'm saying I'm not buying what they're doing. They're trying to hold this stuff down. So I'm going and running towards it, not away from it. I'm buying more of what they don't want me to buy. Here's silver. Silver had a little bit of a down day today, about 50 cents or so. We're coming back. Here's the pattern. We're going to zoom out. We broke this massive, actually, this is a great looking pattern, guys. Big old pattern here. This is the big picture view. Descending wedge, break, gone. Descending wedge, break. And sometimes it goes sideways for a little bit. And then we're going to see a big move higher. Just absolutely ripping it is what I'm expecting. So that's what I think is going to happen. And silver, platinum had a rough day today. Again, we've got the 1, 2, 3 humps. Then we usually break to the upside. This was the sell-off, the Covey sell-off. Zooming in on the right-hand side here, we had an ascending wedge. We broke to the downside here. We still may have a little bit more downside. We could even come back and test it in the low 900s. It's possible. I wouldn't rule it out. Now, I like myself physical. I like the physical uranium, physical platinum here. And if this thing comes on down any further, I mean, I'm probably just going to keep buying into it. I've been buying into it anyway, and I did buy some more recently. Looking at some of the companies here, we'll go to GDX. Here's GDX. Let's zoom out a little bit. We got the 1, 2, 3 pattern. Usually it either comes back to back test or we break. So we're looking really good from a consolidation descending wedge type pattern. So everything's intact. It looks good. Yeah, we went down today, 0.93%. I mean, half of us would probably agree that 0.93%, we wish that our oil stocks only went down that much. But this is where we're at. We're inside the pattern still. Everything looks good. Nothing is broken, I should say. Reverse head and shoulders. We were going to break here. We did break. And then all of a sudden, 18th of November, 2021, we were coming and shooting back lower. Let's zoom in on the right-hand side. We still have some selling we've done. It was coming up, breaking out to this downtrend, and we sold off again, kind of back to where the line is at again. So we're above the downtrend line. Now we got to see where the heck we're going to go from there. And I can't tell you where that's going to happen. It's going to come from the market. And what we're doing is we're just watching the market. Obviously, if I see this pattern here, I'm a huge bull to have this go higher. I think pretty unfortunate that this thing has come on down since November 18th, and pretty unbelievable in my estimation. Again, we've got this reverse head and shoulders coming up. It's kind of a double-headed guy. We broke to the upside. We were cruising, and then somebody put the stop to this move quite abruptly. Coming on down, this is kind of weird here. We've got these big bullish engulfing patterns all through here as well. It wanted to run, but man, it just kept getting hit and hit and hit and hit and hit. We even still have these big bullish engulfing patterns with smaller down days. That is funky to see this type of movement. In fact, usually I hardly ever see this type of movement. And the reason I say that is when you have these big up candlesticks, someone's coming in here and just peppering it, selling massively, trying to make this thing go lower. This one, we had a nice big bullish candlesticks all through here, and then we sold off. It'll find its footing somewhere in here. It may even head back a little bit more. We're still in a downtrend. Looking at MMNGF, this is a small silver exploration company. We were down a bit today, but we are still above its resistance support lines. This is what it looks like. We have a big old pattern back behind us, consolidated, broke to the downside, came back above its pattern, and we're sitting right above the pattern. Still looks good to move higher. I would say it's not done yet. This is Koya Silver. Let's zoom in. Had a little bit more of a sell-off down today. We could get a little bit. We'll see if the buyers can step in and keep this support line holding. It looks like it doesn't want to completely break down yet, but we've got support through this guy here at 0.8192, and we're right above that 0.82. So we do have support right here. Let's see if we can get a double bounce. Discovery Silver kind of squeezed up a little bit, broke out of that, came back up. Zooming on in, go to a 3-month, and we hit some resistance through here. We couldn't forge our way through this, and we are heading lower here. We're still in a downtrend, and we could still see some further sell-off. AG, my boy AG. Big picture view. Big picture view, 1, 2, 3, and then we usually break. We usually move on here. Funky to see this come on back. We'll zoom in on the right-hand side. We'll go to a 6-month. So we're seeing another descending wedge. We broke to the upside, and we're starting to come on back. Very weird to see the market conditions with this much inflation, to have a pattern line this thing up to break to the upside, have it not break, especially this day, put in a descending wedge, which is a pattern to break to the upside to move on up, and then have it be pulling back again. So the buyers are putting in the efforts, guys. The buyers are there. We're pushing this thing higher, and we cannot break this line. That's what's going on for First Majestic. Newmont, back out a little bit of bouncing around here, descending wedge, broke to the upside. Everything looks okay. We're still holding on. One of a few stocks that were up today for Newmont, so it still looks good. Hopefully we can get some momentum. Yamana Gold, descending wedge pattern broken to the upside, and then we have another descending wedge pattern that's forming right now. There's usually 3 humps, 1 hump, 2 hump, and then the third one's forming, and we usually break. So I'm waiting for a break here for Yamana Gold. It looks excellent to move on higher. Impact Silver, looking at Impact Silver, good old Impact. So here is good old Impact. Let's zoom out a little bit. 5-year, big old pattern back here. Usually we do a break, and we are coming on back a little bit, doing kind of a return move before hopefully heading higher. Let's zoom in on the right-hand side. We do have this downtrend, zoomed in too much maybe. We have this downtrend line. We're coming up, and then we coming back, and hopefully we can hold above 35 cents down here. Here's AAGFF, down 3%, which really isn't that bad considering what happened. We're at the bottom of this pattern right now, finding our support. That's exactly what we're doing. Let's zoom in on it. We're coming on down, and there's our support there. Hopefully it can hold down here. Looking at some of the royalty companies. Sand. This is Sandstorm Gold. Sandstorm Gold actually held its own today. I would say this was a win. But we came up into this ascending wedge. Usually these break to the downside. It broke to the downside, and then we came back, and we've got a bigger pattern that we're still above. It's a big trend line coming through. There's your big trend line. And right here would be a good time to buy on that trend line. You're going to find good support. Franco Nevada. Franco Nevada is putting in the 1, 2, 3 pattern. We'll probably break at some point. I think it looks good. If we can break out of 160 and hold above it, we're going to see a big old move higher in Franco Nevada. If it breaks above 160. Would I be a buyer down here? Yeah, I would be. Looks good. EMX looks like it's it's holding on by tooth floss, guys. If we zoom out, maybe I'm at the 5-year. I'm at the 5-year. Big old pattern, broke to the upside, did a retest, broke up. Have another pattern here. Looks like we're putting a big kind of selling pressure candlestick right here. And we're playing with this support line where we could potentially break to the downside for EMX. Tomorrow, or I should say the next trading day, Monday, we could come on back up as the market sentiment changes more positively. Teuton Resources down to $1.55. That's really cheap. We're playing around with this lower level here, this support line. It's not given out yet. We've got support, so it's just holding on. Wheaton Precious Metals. Man, big old down day today, obviously. Let's zoom on out, give you the big picture view. Big old chart break, 1, 2, 3. I like it here. I would be looking at Wheaton Precious Metals. Could this come back more? Yeah, it could come back more. It could also break to the upside at any point. So we're right there ready for a break. This is Gold Royalty. This doesn't have much trading. Not too much of a pattern. I don't have much to say, although it was pretty strong today. It was only down 0.78%. Here's Metalla Royalty. Zooming on out, we've got this nice good uptrend move. We come back to the trend line, Now would be a time to be looking. If you guys like Metalla, it's right at its support line. It's right there at support. And then maybe if we come through here, we've got this nice pattern developing where we're squeezing on up. Hopefully we can break to the upside. Mavericks Metals. Zoom on out. Well, there's not much of a pattern here when you look at that. Don't have much to really say at Mavericks Metals. Lots of resistance up here. Could potentially pull back some, but it looks okay. Just kind of moving sideways, grinding sideways. Here's Royal Gold. I'm going to back out. Royal Gold's got a massive pattern putting on here. Coming up and kind of squeezing up. Let's go all the way up to the right-hand side there. Broke down, coming up. We're trying to break out of this resistance line. If we break and close above it for a little, at least a couple trading days or a week, we'll see this probably move far higher. Here's Osisko Gold Royalties. This guy's got a nice pattern developing. Big old resistance line coming at the top here. Support's coming up, and we're about to break very soon in one direction or the other. I'm guessing upward. We tried breaking, came back to the support line. We're trying again. So that looks good, guys. That's what I have for today. We have royalty companies. We've got all these other areas that I went over. Kind of weird how this variant came out in this news hit right when we were doing a reverse head and shoulders on the 10-year yield. We had gold kind of breaking away to the upside, and how everything kind of played out here. It's a little funky, especially a couple days after they released oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve and probably didn't get the response that they wanted. So I'm a little leery on this, guys, on what they're doing. But these still look good. They're still in their patterns. Everything's holding up okay. We're not blown to the downside, at least not yet. So we'll continue to monitor it. I'll give you my opinion on it. If you guys like these analysis, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.